Well, good afternoon or morning. Yeah, morning. It's still 11 o'clock. Welcome to the Gonzo Radio Sports Desk. How you doing, everybody? I know you can hear me. I know because I've double-checked. I've triple-checked. I know you can hear me. And we're working out the bugs, and this is going to be a much better version than last week. Don't look for last week to be archived for too very long because it's going to be gone. But right now, we're going to get to business because we got a lot of business to get to, man. We're going to do a lot of over the next hour. We're going to do a mock 4-round draft. Is that correct?
That's correct. Mocking. Yeah, 1 through 4.
Seated across from me, matriculating on your screen from your left to your right. Actually, he's sort of leaning to the left, and he actually left the very festive tank top that I donated to him in his cause.
You know I'm all about fashion.
You know you got it on backwards, right?
That's okay.
It is just kind of
what are these
Matty DeMaz, Matt Massaracchio.
Hey everybody, how's everybody doing today?
You look like you're dressed and ready for an art project.
Good morning. Well, I'm going down to the festival right after we finish here. The Pompano Beach Kayak Festival.
Kayak Festival.
We're meeting here at the lake here at 12:30.
He's letting you in on some of the pre-show shenanigans. We were talking some smack about a guy who got arrested kayaking in the lake behind my apartment. But anyway, also seated next to him, patiently awaiting their turn to make sure that the sound still works. It still works. And Andrew, we still have yet to come up with a nickname for you, but Andrew Lawson and John Lindemann, how you guys doing?
Awesome. Good.
The new additions, I wouldn't call them rookies because they really know what they're doing, but the new additions, how was your week, guys?
Long.
Very long. Now I know you want to give a little shout out. One of your kids was ailing.
Oh yes, absolutely, man. Had me up all night 2 nights ago and a little bit last night with 105-degree fever. But he is feeling better. He's back to smiling.
Dad life, man.
Absolutely.
Dad life. Good. I'm glad to hear it. And Andrew, I assure you, you're getting no text messages about anybody not being able to hear you.
No, I'm just tired from a weekend at the Hard Rock and gambling. 12-2 yesterday though. So
Both of you try to get a little closer to your microphones, if you will. Lean in a little bit. But yeah, I get it. I dig it.
12-2. Did you hear that yesterday?
What?
He went 12-2 yesterday in college, opening week.
I heard that. I'm used to it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's several reasons why we have these men on our show. And one of them is, and he won't let me call him a degenerate gambler because he's like, I'm not a degenerate. Who are you calling a degenerate?
Degenerates are bad. I'm not bad.
It's so stigmatized. Come on, being a degenerate is stigmatized. I've been a degenerate all my life. No, nobody's buying it. All right. Well, let's get down to business. First of all, I have to say yes. You saw our little tribute to the late great Terry Funk and the gone way too soon Bray Wyatt. I'm struck. I mean, not so much about Terry because Terry, 79, really, left it all in the ring as far as his career is concerned. And he had been suffering from dementia for the last few years. I mean, that's going to get anybody. And we're talking about a double tough Texas son of a bitch. And that's going to get anybody because he's human. And since it's my podcast, I get to tell a Terry Funk story. Actually, I can tell a couple of them, but I'm only going to tell one. And it was the time that I was working as a producer up in Orlando. And I have a relationship with Abdullah the Butcher, name drop, and sitting up in the upstairs dressing area, and I'm chatting with Abby, and he's smoking a cigar that I brought him indoors in the back corner of the wrestling backstage area, and he's smoking the cigar, and we're hearing the crowd roar outside, and it's Terry Funk and Steve Corino doing a falls count, no disqualification, Texas death, just an absolute bloodfest, and it's over, and in comes Terry Funk, wrestling icon, gotta be in his early to mid 60s, head to toe covered in blood, okay? And he comes shambling up, he says hi to a few people, shakes a few hands, oh, thank you. Very humble guy, really, really. And he walks up, and I'm like, oh, here comes Terry. And he walks up to us, and he's like, dang it, Abby, you smoking that stinky thing in here? And he sees my girlfriend, who happened to be a an entertainer, if you will, a rather attractive young lady. She's sitting right here, like next to me as I'm standing there, and I'm like, is there anything I can do for you, boss? We call each other boss backstage. And anything I can do for you, boss? And he goes, well, he seems a little confused. And he's like, well, first of all, excuse me, pardon my language. He said, dang it. And he apologized to my girlfriend for using foul language in her presence. That's old school Texas stuff right there. That's gentleman stuff, you know what I'm saying? And he's like, yeah, my girlfriend is sitting on his chair with his bag underneath it. He didn't need a special dressing area. He just sat back with the old schoolers, right? He's like, well, I was like, honey, get up. He goes, no, ma'am, you stay right there, you stay right there. And he reaches down, he goes, excuse me, and he pulls his bag out, and he goes and he sits over here. I'm like, I mean, this guy is like, he's been around the world. He's an icon.
Was definitely going to be
tens
missed.
of millions of people have seen this guy's work.
Yeah.
And he's just as humble as can be. That, and I worked with, the dude did 500 push-ups and 500 sit-ups and 500 squats before every match. And if I didn't work on 3 shows with him, I wouldn't have believed it. But yeah, so
These people they're dying too soon. And
Right.
the other guy you're going to mention too, 36 years old. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
awful.
Far too young.
Yeah.
Yeah, way too young.
Wyndham Rotunda, a young man born into 2 different royal families of professional wrestling. Remember Blackjack Mulligan, 6'8", 350-pound monster from Texas? That's his grandfather. Okay, and his father was Erwin Arsheister from the WWF, better known as Mike Rotunda, also a Hall of Famer. And the kid was an incredible creative mind. I mean, everything he did, from his music selection to his storylines to his characters. And the business is poorer without him. And he's dead way too soon at the age of 36.
Too young.
36, like half my age. So rest in peace to both those guys. Yes, it's wrestling related. Okay, now can we get on to the regular sports?
Yes.
Are you guys done talking about wrestling for crying out loud?
I think it's football season from what I heard.
From what
Somebody
I heard.
told me,
Soon.
isn't there games being played right now?
Right. So
Pretty sure.
Tell me, Maddie, what do we have coming up?
We have stuff. We always have stuff. All right. We're going to be talking about, obviously we're doing a draft. We're doing a live draft today, 4 rounds, guys. We're going to give it your best effort. Each of us is going to take, I think it's going to be 3 picks a round. So I think you're going to go first, Drew, and then John or Gonzo. I've got the order worked
Oh, you're
out.
going to let me go first on my own show. Thanks, I appreciate that.
I'm going last, but that's fine.
It's only because he wants to see what we're going to pick first. That's what he wants to do.
I'm going to talk about, again, just draft strategy. Just, we're all drafting next week. That's when we start. Actually, I've got one. We have one tomorrow. Just some tips.
Christian McCaffrey, sorry.
Just some advice, just some little things that we're looking for in terms of
tickle.
to give you an advantage, in your drafts. Late round flyers, we're going to talk about those guys being undrafted, guys that we know that you can kind of stash later on that most players probably aren't focused on, that we think are going to have pretty good years, that are going to exceed their value. So we're looking for those types of players.
Well, might I add, those players are pretty instrumental in, I think, in all of our victories whenever we've won a league. We always seem to find 2 or 3 players out there on the 11th, the 12th, the 13th round. And everybody's like, or even free agent pickups after the draft. And they have more impact than the actual first 5 or 6 rounds that you pick. I mean, they're amazing players.
They say
important.
they say that you're not winning your drafts in the first few rounds, but you can certainly lose it in the later rounds, I feel, because
Absolutely.
it's important. I mean, if you look at most draft boards, they're pretty consistent in the first few rounds. People are taking players, you pretty much know who's going in the first, to a degree, who's going in the second. But as the rounds start to get lower and lower, there's more variables, there's more, guys taking different opinions.
If you build your roster right, you can take a couple flyers maybe earlier on somebody that you know is not going to make it back to you, or you want to take a little bit earlier because you like the potential on the upside. As long as you build your roster correctly in those first 6 rounds, you have a better flexibility to make those moves to get the upside guy.
Exactly. We talked about it last week, getting your guy, building your tiers, and then not being afraid to, not follow the ADP and have confidence in your selection. So, yeah. So we'll go through some of that. I'm sure we go through these first 4 rounds. We'll have a couple of guys, maybe round 3, round 4, that may be looked upon as a reach, one of the terms we use in fantasy. But again, if it's your guy, if you think he's going to do well, then put him on your team. I mean, you've done your research, so have some confidence. And then basically, you know how we go. Round 3, after the break, we got some alien discussions. So that's going to be what we're looking forward to.
That's all you got?
It's a lot. Let's get started.
Okay. Well, then, how do we want to get started? Well, first of all, there's a lot of hot stories coming out here in the first segment that we really have to touch on.
Yeah, where's Aaron Rodgers? We've already expelled that whole conversation.
Hey,
threw a touchdown pass.
They had a love fest yesterday in NYC,
Yeah.
or in New Jersey. Sorry, in New Jersey.
Looked good throwing to Garrett Wilson.
He did. The hope is high, and
Yeah, you can expect a lot from them two this year, at least them two for sure.
well, it's again like you mentioned earlier, John. The media is brutal, and they're very impatient. And right now, New York is a desperate city. I mean, the Yankees are struggling. There's hopes for the Giants,
Yeah,
and
Mets
Mets are terrible. So they're hungry, and right now they're probably putting a lot of their eggs in his basket. And you just got to wonder if he's going to be able to, maintain that sort of pressure, in that environment when things go south. For Aaron at 40 years old, I mean, ayahuasca,
Not
baby.
a mobile quarterback, very bad line.
yeah,
a
offensive
lot
line.
of sacks, a lot of throwaways this year I could see.
Yeah, and like I said, last year, 22nd ranked overall. So, in terms of fantasy points. So, well, I guess we'll all see how that plays out. So, Aaron Rodgers. And then, of course, the biggest trade we're talking about now is where the hell is Jonathan Taylor going? You guys are Dolphins, so you're fans. Do you want him?
I like our running back combination.
I do like Taylor, but I just don't know what we have to give up.
Yeah.
I know also Philly's in it, and Philly would be a good fit. But they have some draft capital. Dolphins don't have as much draft capital with the Tyreek trade and the Bradley Chubb trade. But, second round pick, third round pick, and maybe offload Ogba or somebody of that nature.
Ogba. Everyone wants to get rid of Ogba.
Or maybe we have to give them
Talk
Jeff
about
Wilson
a leaky
back.
story, though. Talk about a leaky story because
that would be good.
you have to think that Irsay is out there leaking the news like, okay, we rejected the Dolphins' offer. Okay, but talks are ongoing. I mean, listen, Irsay is flaky at best. Let's say flaky at best.
Yeah.
I mean, what did he get caught with? 1,000 painkillers? He got pulled over. He was all like, you know who I am? It's like, yes, we know who you are, and you're about to get a number. So
makes you wonder why all these people are leaving Indianapolis. Andrew Luck called it early. Now, I know he had injury and stuff like that. Now you got another prominent franchise player wanting out of Dodge. You see these sorts of things, and you wonder: is the owner that much of an influence? Is it that much of a toxic environment where these stars can't be at their best level?
Right.
I
Well,
guess there's credence in that.
Andrew Luck got to the point where he was like, oh, look at this. I happen to have FU money. Well, guess what?
It's not worth the risk. I'm out.
I retire.
Yeah.
They also couldn't really build for some reason. I mean, I don't know if we all can agree on this, but I know that was one heck of a quarterback, man, all the way around. Toughness, could throw every single pass
prototype.
you needed, and they
Smart.
couldn't build a team around
Just
him.
couldn't
to
give
get
him
a
an offensive
championship.
line.
Yeah.
They couldn't give him an offensive
Yeah,
line.
like
he
he
was
just
tired of
had
getting his head bashed in.
that offensive line play ruined him. And that's what we were saying about Rodgers. It very well could be
Yeah.
the same thing this year.
Right. I mean, and listen.
Except Rodgers is 40.
We all look back to the saga.
True.
We all look back to the saga of Ryan Tannehill, and not that it was going to make Tannehill an elite quarterback, but look what happened when he got a good offensive line, and look what happened when he got a good running game. All of a sudden, it's like, where was this? I was like, I saw it because I saw every Dolphin game he ever played in. Okay, but you see it. You saw glimpses on the O line's having a good day, and what do we know? What do we know with quarterbacks? It's a difference of a second. The second. If they get you in 3 seconds, you're dead. They get you in 4 seconds, the ball's gone. Okay? And if you get 4 seconds, the ball's gone, and it can go to a whole bunch of different places. Okay? So when the offensive line's having a 4.5 second day, he's not getting touched. He's staying clean. He's going, 75, 80% completions. He's lighting it up. So same can be said for any quarterback.
Got an
Seriously.
interesting take on the Jonathan Taylor thing. I wanted to hear from you two. As far as possibly him going to Buffalo, I also hear, is it a possibility he goes to Buffalo where you already have these issues with Diggs and touches, and he already had a ton of targets last year? I really don't even know what he was complaining about. But now you're going to put Jonathan Taylor back there who's going to want his touches. Is it possible that even a great player like Jonathan Taylor going to the Bills could ruin the camaraderie between that whole team even more, taking more catches away from Diggs, more problems, more complaints? How do you feel about that?
It depends on the current culture in Buffalo. And we mentioned just a few players, the alphas that are having some issues like Diggs, but we don't understand. We're not in the locker room. We don't know what the other 54 guys are talking about and how they are. So it's going to depend on their chemistry. But I like to look at it more from a fantasy perspective. Taylor goes somewhere, he's going to be taking targets. He's going to be taking volume share. He's going to be a big part of the offense. I'm not looking to get Taylor where he lands. I'm looking to avoid the players around him where he goes, because that's where those sorts of guys are going to have to concede volume. And that's the one thing that we all preach in terms of fantasy value is volume opportunity.
The least impacted place he would go would be Miami, because those guys are all 30% anyway. They're getting drafted late because you're not. It's like 40-40-20 split between Wilson, Mostert, and Wilson. But if he goes
10th round or later,
if he goes somewhere like Philly, now all of a sudden Swift and or Gainwell are losing touches. If he goes to the Bears, that 3-back system that they had with Herbert, Roshan Johnson, and Foreman is done because Taylor gets it. So
Right.
Philly has a lot
those
of
places right there, it's all right.
I'm even talking about all parts of the offense, not just the running back position, taking somebody's spot. If you got, let's say Eckler was on the move, guy got 100 targets last year.
Yep.
Taylor's a target guy too. So if you're taking 70 targets out of the offense that wasn't there the year before, again, your other skill position players are the ones that are going to take that hit. So you got to be aware of that. So the consciousness is hopefully, for fantasy's sake, Taylor gets traded and we know where he is. So we can assess the new situation and the players around him and determine if we feel like it's going to be an impact or not.
So out of the teams that are in it, Miami, Philly, Buffalo seem to be the three that are on top right now.
I read
For
Carolina this
fantasy-wise.
morning as well.
I read Dallas.
Dallas?
Again, it's all these are rumors
So
that are
let's
being
say out
thrown.
of all four of these teams, you guys are the numbers guys for fantasy. Which one of those teams would actually, for fantasy, give him the best opportunity to get the most yardage, touchdowns, touches?
I don't think it matters. He's too good. It does. Look what he did on a bad Colts team. I don't think it matters. Like he said, it matters. He's taking away from Waddle, Tyreek Hill, or he's going to take away from A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, or take away from CeeDee Lamb,
Exactly,
or whatever.
exactly.
It doesn't matter where he goes. He's going to be his 1,200 yards, 7 touchdowns,
60 catches,
45 to 60 catches,
Yeah.
500
If
yards,
you
3
think,
more
if you
TDs.
think Diggs is a diva, imagine what happens if you take away an extra 10 or 15 targets away from Tyreek Hill. He's not going to be happy. But the year before, when he was with Kansas City, he was not happy. Why? Because he had about 20 to 25 fewer targets. Because all of a sudden they were like, yeah, Kelsey is not only the focus, now he's all the focus. Why? Because teams are taking off the top. Teams were just sticking three deep and waiting. They sit down there and you file their nails and wait for Hill to come down the field. Oh, here he comes. Oh, okay. Well, we'll pick him up here. They're passing him off in coverage. It's extended double and triple coverage. So of course they couldn't throw to him, and he got mad. And they said, okay, you're mad, go be mad someplace else, and they traded him. So it's a sticky situation with him. Plus, the Dolphins have to do a little bit of salary cap jujitsu, which I don't think that they really want to do.
We're not even talking about the business side of it.
Right.
It's a $12 million cap hit.
Yeah,
He's not going
we
to
don't
sign
need
for less than that. So, and again, it's week one is around the corner. You're going to bring a guy in that's going to expect to be such a focal point of the offense. And how many first team snaps is he getting? How many practice reps? I mean, it's
Right.
it's
Plus, if he
just
goes to Philly, I feel bad for Swift. He's been waiting to be a premier back. And
Yeah,
bring a
I
big
just-
time premier back in.
again, my primary focus is to get a feel for where he's going and then look at the situation and the players around him and how it'll affect them. I'm not on Jonathan Taylor in any aspect this year, no matter where he goes. But I am more so in tune with the players around him, and that's just how I feel about that.
See, I don't like that. I'm not on. It's all about value. So you're telling me late in the third, early on the turn in the fourth, you're not on Jonathan Taylor?
Well, again, what I mean in the sense is that where I feel like he's probably going to go, he may not get to the fourth round. I haven't seen him get that far in any draft yet.
A couple of best balls I've gotten him in the turn, in the third or fourth turn.
But okay, then you're right. For me to be clear, I'm not second round, even third round Jonathan Taylor right now. Now, if he goes to the fourth round, it's going to depend on my lineup construction. It's going to depend on where I am.
And this is something we'll get into a little bit later, but I don't want to forget. This is also why maybe we do drafts early, best balls early, because there are on my best ball teams where I've gotten Josh Jacobs, who now just signed, and Jonathan Taylor, 4th and 5th round, 3rd and 4th round. So now I'm set up at the running back position, even with my 2 wide receivers. If you take if you're actually into best ball and you're into drafting early, most winners come before August 1st. Because you're not reading the papers, you're not reading the internet, you're not seeing, this rookie who is going to take snaps from somebody. You go with what you know, with what makes sense.
Are you saying analyzing the data is not good? Because I have data.
Hang on.
I have data. I got mounds of data.
Time. First of all, we have to explain what best ball is, gentlemen. I mean, yes, this is the advanced class, this is the gifted class, I understand this, okay, but Andrew's getting into the nuts and bolts and the technical side of it, and me, I'm a layman, I barely know what best ball is,
Yeah.
but
I wish we had more time to go over it so that people can take advantage of what we're teaching.
Well, give us a
rundown.
A quick rundown.
It's the easiest version of fantasy football. You draft a team, and then you never look for the rest of the year if you don't want to.
Set and forget, right?
You set and forget, and it takes your best scores, and you have, say you draft 2 quarterbacks, whoever has the highest score that week goes in. You're same with your running backs and wide receivers. So you draft a team of players in roles, and then maybe your last 3 picks you get darts. Shakir from the Bills.
High ceiling players.
Guys that maybe only will get you 3 great games, but maybe they're going to get you 3 30-point games, and that's what you need. So it's pretty easy that way, and that way, like I said, you don't have to look at it. The drafts go by fast. You can get in the leagues as little as $3 up to $10. My biggest win on a $10 one was $10,000.
That was a big
I made it to
league,
the
though, huh?
second to the last week, so it's very good.
How many people in that field?
Well, there's about 100,000, but you start with your team, and then after 13 weeks, the top 2 in that out of your 12,
They're like
go
12,
on to the next
12 teams in brackets.
In brackets, and
so
then
you win your
continue
bracket,
to
you
go.
advance.
And I made it to the second to last week where I would have went to the final 10
Nice.
and maybe got a chance at $100,000, but
Right on.
I came in third the week prior.
And you'll take your 1,000 time payout.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the best ball strategy that I like to imply is that knowing, like what he touched on, is that you're going to have, if you can identify players that are going to have 3 solid weeks each year, those are the best ball guys you're looking for late in the rounds. They're horrible weekly fantasy plays because we know we have them in our teams, and you're always fighting. Do I start this guy? And because you don't know when they're going to pop. But those sorts of guys are going to pop, and you just don't have to worry about it. They're just sitting on your bench, and then they become starters once they do pop. And that's the advantage of best ball.
The easiest way for a guy, Gabe Davis is a guy, for example. Gabe Davis, you have to look every single week and wonder if you're going to start him because you don't know if he's going to have 3 catches for 22 yards or he's going to have 6 catches for 140 yards and 2 touchdowns. So he's a guy that I target in best ball where he's not in my radar in redraft leagues.
Right, exactly. No, it's a good point, and that's what we illustrate. Again, guys in the best balls tend to have a little higher value, and you're going to take them much higher than you would normally take them in your season long. So, but guys, let's get to draft and let's get to the break and let's come back and let's draft. Let's do it.
I'm still in the middle of being a juvenile on the phone here. I'm just acknowledging everybody on YouTube, saying hi to everybody. With Debbie and Lou and Frank and all the regulars on the YouTube channel. If you're not on the YouTube channel, or if you are seeing us from Facebook, which we're going to check in on Facebook, everybody check in on Facebook and say hi to everybody. Yeah, we have to acknowledge you. We acknowledge you. So we're going to take a quick break and we're going to come back and we're going to do our 4-round draft. And it's going to be totally different than what I would probably ever do. They're giving me the first pick in the Gonzo Radio Sports Desk.
I lied.
Draft.
Andrew's got the first pick. You got the second pick.
Liar!
I thought so.
How am I
I
going
was
to
like,
mock
wait, we just
that?
talked about this yesterday.
I
Gonzo was not first.
How am I going to mock?
You got the second pick.
All right.
But you're second, 6, and 9, or 10, or something like that.
We'll be back
So-
in about a minute. I got to go mock everything now. Not mock draft. Not as in make fun of. So, yeah. Draft after this. Bye.
right, we'll see.
All right. Settle down out there. Jeez Louise, man. Let me tell you, we're gone for a minute and a half, and they're just going berserk. They're just talking back and forth. What was that about Jaylen Warren? Now, no, really. What about that Jaylen Warren thing now? What
Listen,
were you
it's
saying?
very clear I'm a Steeler fan here. So but I also like to keep
See
it
that?
real.
You like vertical
And
stripes.
he hasn't
one
come
of
to
horizontal
terms that
stripes.
Jaylen Warren is better than Najee Harris. He has not come to terms on that yet.
No, I have not. I'm glad to have them both, and it's a good compliment. He is a very good player, but the duo makes them strong, not just on the back of Jaylen Warren. It's also Najee Harris.
Well, yeah.
Trent Richardson 2.0.
All right, we'll see.
Alabama running back.
That's
Went way
just,
too early.
if you don't have something nice to say, for crying out loud, wow, really, it's just going to go hard. Trent Richardson. Trent, what hole, Richardson? Field vision. Look, there's the field. I see it. No, wow, that's just mean. We don't do mean things here.
No, we do some mean things here.
We do. Okay.
Yeah, we do
Look at him,
mean
he's
things.
laughing. He's just like so self-satisfied now. He's like, I showed him. All right, so
Yeah, we got drafts
is
coming
there
up.
is there like a song we have to sing? Do we have to do the Pledge of Allegiance?
I
or-
mean, it's all about strategy, right? I mean, we talked about this
I
last
pledge
week.
of allegiance to the shield.
Keys in terms of what you're drafting and how you're doing it. We're all starting our draft. So my suggestion, we've been doing it, is do mocks, guys. Do as many as you can. Get a feel for where players are being taken so that you have an idea when it's your turn. You're not searching for guys. You have a plan. And the reason why I say that is because I'm going to offer another bit of advice that we talked about last week. Is make sure that you're aware of who's being taken around you. I have a sheet that I made with some squares, real simple. It took me 30 seconds. And basically, it's all the teams, real simple. And I'm just going to mark quarterback, wide receiver, running back, whoever's taking what. I don't need the names. I just need to know who they're taking. So again, when I'm looking in the 7th and 8th round and the two teams on either side of me have got all their running backs based on roster composition, I feel pretty good that I can maybe wait a round or two on a particular guy that I'm looking for. So I think it's important to be aware of your
Kicker.
draft. And you're only able to do that when you're not scrambling for that kicker in the 12th round. Who do I take? Who do I take? You got to be
Kicker.
prepared. So do your mocks, guys. Know who's being taken around you. It's very
ESPN
important.
makes it way too easy.
ADP, we talked about it. Guideline only, right? We agree on that?
Absolutely.
Only use it as a guideline.
Yeah.
It's just telling you where the average is. Now, things can happen with injuries. Right now, obviously Jerry Judy's ADP is 45, but you're not going to take him in the first 80 picks.
Bet it's not now.
But somebody like JSN from Seattle, where he's got a minor injury, his ADP has fallen 15 spots. But if you've gotten your
Full round.
if you got your 3 wide receivers and your 2 running backs, and you're going to do what I do and usually wait on your tight end and running back, maybe you'll scoop him up a round or two early because you know the potential is there. Maybe not, but that's why ADP is just a guideline, so I shouldn't take Joshua Palmer in the 9th round like I've seen in a couple best ball drafts. That's where the ADP
And I
is.
proved it.
Please do.
I proved it. Guys, the last couple of years, we're at a 40% success rate in the first 4 rounds for hitting value. So none of us know any more than the rest of us technically, all right? These experts, the ADPs.
Just a hair short of 50-50.
Yeah, so do your research, get your list of guys, know where you're going to take your guys, and then stash a few guys, which is what I'm going to talk about now. There are guys that are probably going to be undrafted, guys that are going to be in later rounds, guys that you're going to know that are going to have roles on teams. I'll throw out some names. Of course, one of your favorite Steelers, apparently, Jaylen Warren. He's a guy that he may get drafted, but he's a later round guy, going to have a role in the offense. Jeff Wilson, Tyler Algier, all these guys that are in supportive roles on decent teams
Cordero Patterson.
that will basically, at some point during the year, have a role. And a pretty significant one. So again, instead of just making that late round pick just the last, the highest guy left on the ADP, have a list of guys. Know who you're taking. Here's a guy I like too, and we talked about this before the show. Tight end is a position that's going to really be thin this year. It's been thin for the last several years.
Yep.
So if you don't have a guy at the top of the list, the Kelseys, the Hawkinson, if you think Pitts is on that list, whatever, Waller's now traded, he could have a big season. If you're not getting one of those top couple of guys, then you're going to be looking late in the rounds for guys that are going to have high upside guys. And one of the guys that I'm really high on this year is that Laporta kid. They just don't have a lot of targets in Detroit. Good offense, up-and-coming team. People say they're going to be a playoff team this year. It's got to throw the ball, got to move it. So outside of Amon St. Brown, you got Josh Reynolds. Okay, guy hasn't caught more than 50 passes in any of the 6 seasons he's been there. And I think Mims is on that team too, isn't he? As a receiver?
No, they have Khalif Raymond. Jamison Williams coming back after week 5 or week 6?
Yeah, that's right. 6 weeks. That's right. That's right, Williams. Sorry.
Laporta.
So it's thin.
Gambling in the building. If you'd have stepped outside of the building or wait till he got home to gamble, they wouldn't have cared.
It's thin. It's thin. The tight end position is thin. That team is thin. So it's those sorts of players that I tuck away.
Tyler Higbee for me is my tight end that I'm getting in round 11 or 12.
Sneaky. He's going to have a big year.
He's another one too where in St. Louis, sorry, 10 years ago in LA, Cooper Kupp's going to eat 125 to 150 targets. I mean, Van Jefferson, the guy is
if he stays
boomer bust.
healthy.
You know, so after him and Van Jefferson, Tutu Atwell, the guy's fast but can't catch. They've got the rookie Paka Newcomb, so there's not many targets in LA either. So I think Higbee is going to be a sneaky 75 catch guy this year.
Okay.
So he's one that I've been trying to target. I'm actually been reaching on him a little bit above the ADP, and if he's sitting there in the 10th to 11th round and my roster construction is nice, I will take him around early instead of my 5th wide receiver because I think he could be somebody as good as my wide receiver 4/flex option.
Yeah, he's got high upside.
It's a calculated gamble.
Yeah, definitely high upside.
Gambling? Did somebody say gambling?
Easy. All right, so you ready to get this shindig started?
You mean you want to draft?
Or do you have something else you'd like to
I got
add?
so much stuff, but let's draft.
know.
I'm ready to go. Let's
I
draft.
know, believe me, you inundate us every week, every Friday and Saturday. It's the group text with snapshots of these
Nothing but papers.
scrawls of pages, and I'm
Biblical
like,
scripts.
you're gonna have carpal tunnel by the time we get to the 4th or 5th episode.
And I'm old school. I write everything down. So
Yeah,
I
certainly
don't,
does.
yeah.
He
Grandpa.
certainly does.
And when you see me look down, that's because all my stuff is in the 21st century in my notes on my phone like normal people.
Oh, for a century. No, you mean just
Shots
like
fired,
younger
shots
people.
fired.
Not, I'm normal. I'm just old.
Oh my god. Well, he's got his computer over there. You see, that's what he's looking at right now.
While he's looking for all that stuff, I'll give you 2 other names to target late. One is Mike Evans. I'm super high on him. All of a sudden, people decided he's not a 3rd-round pick because they don't like Baker Mayfield, which Baker actually played well enough in LA on nothing.
Don't give my secrets away.
And Tyler Lockett, the guy is always 80, 907. I mean, he just walks in that. If he's they're your wide receiver 3 and flex, you're sitting pretty. So don't be afraid to draft them because of the ADP or what the analysts are saying a step back.
That's exactly where I ended up getting him too, because I have him on my fantasy team, and he was about 6th, 7th round. You can get him as a wide receiver.
By the
after
way,
you fill your
Tyler
lineup a
Lockett,
little
2
bit.
drops last year. That's it.
Yeah, he's sure-handed.
2
for
drops
sure.
total.
Absolutely.
Right,
Also,
but-
you can look for Musgrave for Green Bay if you're looking for a late-round tight end, I believe. I think Love is going to target him a lot
Yeah.
this season.
He had the most catches last year, Tyler Lockett, with the least amount of drops. 84 catches, 2 drops. So
Yeah, no,
it's a
he's
pretty good catch rate.
reliable, I'll
Pretty
tell
good
you that.
catch rate, yeah.
Well, that's for sure. But one thing that you're seeing with this draft this year is you're seeing a bunch of really talented rookies that are being drafted this year on teams that seem to have that positional need locked up. I mean, look at Seattle with what's his name? With the
Njigba?
hyphen. Yeah, Nigma.
Yeah. He's hurt, though, now.
Just JSN is easy.
JSN?
Yeah, JSN.
Okay. Why, it sounds a little racist?
Yeah.
But he's a good rookie, but he's hurt. So he's not going to really steal much of a target share. 40, 50 targets all season. Now, granted, he might get 6 touchdowns because he's a boomer bust
Yeah.
kind of kid.
Right.
But he's going to be the replacement. Who's he going to replace? Lockett, or is
Well,
he going to replace Metcalf? 'Cause
Again,
one of them's going to go.
You have to go deeper into how they run their offensive sets. They
Right.
don't. They run a lot of 11 personnel, so
Right.
it's a lot of 2 receiver sets.
Right.
So they're going to have to find a spot for him. That's a
They
little
will.
bit of a concern. Now the kid's talented. He's hurt now. I think it's going to be a little bit of a step back, but I do
You're
like
not going
him.
to be able to pay 2 premium receivers, though.
But that's
We're
looking
talking
next-
about the business.
Well, you're looking next year, though. For this year, I'm looking for a guy that is a complementary piece with a ton
Right.
of talent. So
Right,
you
for
know,
sure.
he's
No,
definitely a good piece.
I totally agree with
Oh,
that.
by the way, Andrew, you're on the clock.
Well, that,
Oh, yeah, Andrew is on
Look
the
how he
clock.
did
number 1 is the easiest, Justin Jefferson. Nope.
Okay.
JJ is
JJ
Should be number
is
one in
off
every
the
draft.
board. Wow. Hey, smart pick. I like JJ.
And I'm number 2.
You're number 2.
I am the number 2.
You are the number 2.
I am, aren't I? Real easy, Christian McCaffrey.
Wow.
Real easy.
Now,
Real
question
easy,
about
really
that
fast.
guy.
Yeah. What about him?
Target monster, target share monster.
Yeah.
Big part of the offense.
Okay.
Health is a concern to anybody?
No.
Not at all? Okay. Fair.
He
Fair.
was healthy
No,
last
but-
year. You know me. I'm not a health guy. I'm a upside. And
Okay.
Christian McCaffrey's a win-your league guy.
Fair.
Right.
Fair.
Well, here let's put it this way, okay? And we talked about this last year when the last time we did this, and we talked about how it was before he got traded. Okay, the last couple of years he's been making business decisions with his injuries. Okay, because some of his injuries that he's missed games on, not that severe, but Carolina sucked. They were so far out of the playoffs. He
Stop
had no
letting him
reason.
stall, John. Make your pick.
Go, John.
Stop letting him stall for you.
You're giving him too much time to think.
Sorry,
I'm like, you're
sorry.
talking
Yeah,
to me.
my bad.
Just
Okay.
go.
But go ahead.
I'm going to go with the man that's going for 2,000 yards this year, Tyreek Hill.
Hill. I knew that already. Wow.
Hill at 3. Wow.
Wow.
Beating that projection.
No, you know what? I've seen him go as early as in the later first round. But again, that's John's guy. He's a Dolphin
I
fan. He
hope
knows the
slides-
potential.
I hope
Yeah.
he slides
Yeah.
to 11 in all my drafts. So-
Guys,
All right, you're on the clock.
I'm chasing touchdowns and receptions here with Jamar Chase of the Cincinnati Bengals. That team
I
is
see what you did
good.
there.
That
That's
team
clever.
is good.
That's real.
Andrew on the clock, pick 5.
So here's where I'm going to differ than what I've been doing a lot. I am going to take Kelsey at 5. And there's a reason, hopefully, you'll see
He's
back
5 and
in
6
the second
guy.
round.
Okay, Kelsey. Gonzo at 6.
But he won't be available in the second round. See, that's where this is kind of unfair because we're picking rounds and rounds. Kelsey's not going to be available in the second round.
He won't be.
No,
but you'll see
anywhere
why I'm
near
doing
the
why
second round.
you'll see why I drafted him where I did in hopes of what I'm looking to do in the second round.
Take Patrick Mahomes right now. Ruin his dream.
All right.
Gonzo with the 6th pick in the draft.
Which actually would technically be the.
6th pick in the draft.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Just a separate teams. We're just doing
Yeah.
what a mock would look like.
Yeah, you're just picking. You're not building one team. You're building 3 teams.
Oh.
It's math.
Ah.
Yeah,
Math is not his strong suit. That's why he's on the other side.
yeah, math.
Yeah.
All right, so hey, pick somebody
Sure, Patrick Mahomes.
in the first round.
I'm nuts.
That's crazy.
Normally, listen, I've seen him go at 11 and 12, 11 and 12, 11 and 12 a lot. A lot.
It's usually going around 19 or 20.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him go anything.
I've seen a lot
higher
of
than
mocks where he's going 11 or 12. And believe me, I'm shocked. I'm surprised.
Mahomes.
But I mean, if we're talking about my second round draft choice,
No, it's not. This is your first round draft choice and pick number 6.
right?
So
But-
if you were doing your draft now with the 6th pick in the draft, you would take Mahomes
No.
over Cooper Kupp, Austin Eckler, Stephon
No, I would
Diggs.
take Austin Eckler.
Okay,
But-
Eckler's your pick.
Oh, so you want Eckler to be the number 6? Yeah, sure. Eckler would be the number 6 pick. I'm surprised that he's not the number 4 pick, but that's fine. He's the number 6 pick.
We're
Sure.
not worried about Eckler.
All right.
All right, John.
Fine then.
This is a new
Not
team.
Mahomes,
so
Eckler.
who you
New
got?
team?
Yeah, new team.
Remember,
You got
you're
pick 7.
doing 3 different teams.
Oh, sorry. Here, let's get over here. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock.
You should be writing this down so you know who you're picking for your teams. Makes sense.
You're writing it down.
John,
I
go.
will take, actually, Cooper Kupp.
Cup.
Yep.
Man, I'm a little worried about that offense this year. I mean, I don't think I really want any pieces of the Rams this year. But, all right, Cup's a target monster as well. Hey, Matt's up with the 8th pick in the draft. And I know you're not going to like this because you made fun of him earlier, but I'm going Barkley there. I need a horse. And all the preseason hype has been how good Daniel Jones and the offensive line has looked and how they've looked in general. I think they're hungry. I think, and the NFC's weak. Give me Barkley.
Game of Jones. I love it.
I would take Stephon Diggs.
Diggs going in the first round. Wow, Buffalo.
That's
All right.
scary. I'm telling you.
Man, we are reaching for these picks. I love it. I love it. Nobody's. Let's just do it.
Diggs is ADP at 8.
No, I mean, he's strong. He's really strong. I just don't feel. I
Yeah,
know,
that's.
we've been so
that's still,
anti-Buffalo, but
yeah.
again, maybe that's Zig and you zag and you win the
Be
league.
anti-Buffalo winning 12 games. They're still going to go 10-7, and Josh Allen has to throw the ball to somebody. You want
Yeah.
Gabe Davis is a hit or miss. Diggs, I'll take at 8 all day long.
Gonzo.
All
Fine all
right.
day
So
long.
it's up to me.
New team now.
New team now.
Pick 8. Who you got left?
I don't like being condescended to like this. Let's see. Okay, so pick 8, 8th pick in the draft. Let's go. Derrick Henry.
Okay, I like
Yes,
it. I like it.
it's a little overdraft. I think he's, 8th is a little higher than, and I think his ADP has been around 10 or 11. But you want to back.
We know what he can do.
'Cause
John, 11.
There's
Nick
a ton
Chubb.
of. Boom. See?
There goes the rest of the running backs.
And that was my 1 and 1A.
Yeah.
Wow, smart
Okay.
pick.
Good. Keep the running backs going so I can draft them in the
Yeah.
rounds 5, 6, 7, and 8.
Yeah,
and
so-
have a bunch of
receiver, wide
receivers.
receiver, wide
This guy now, if you're at the 12 in your draft, you realize you've got 2 picks to make. You got the 12 and you got the turn at 13, and then you got quite a while to wait until it gets back to you. So again, roster composition is important. It depends on how you're going to set your team and based on value. 5 running backs are off the board already. So maybe I'm going wide receiver here. Maybe I'm going running back here. I don't even know. I think I'm going to go with. I want to take Najee Harris just to get you angry, but I won't do that.
Please do.
I won't
It
do
leaves
that.
Better players for
I will
us.
not do that. I will not take Najee Harris, but instead I am
Do
going
it.
to take.
Check him.
I'm going with the hype train. I'm taking Bijan Robinson.
See, and I would differ with this strategy, and this is why everybody has different strategies. If I saw 5 bell cows off the board, I'm going wide receiver, because I know now that these guys right here, those 5, they have to take at least one, if not 2 wide receivers in rounds 2 and 3. So when it gets back to you on the 4-5 turn, you have now 1 more wide receiver, 1 running back, or both running backs, and you've got 3 better receivers, and you're still going to get 2 running backs that are just a stud under Chubb, Barkley,
Right.
Bijan, right? Because you can get somebody, in the Jahmyr Gibbs, Josh Jacobs, Jonathan Taylor train, and now you already have somebody like A.J. Brown and CeeDee Lamb, or A.J. Brown and Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Why are you talking about all these players that are coming up here now? We're drafting here. This is
CeeDee Lamb, I'm
we're talking
taking.
strategy.
See, you just gave him his player.
CeeDee Lamb, baby. Give me some venison this year.
Jeez.
I'll take some lamb.
I'm not on Lamb this year. I have 0 shares of him in my 30 best balls.
What
0.
do you mean you don't eat meat?
John, you're up. John, this is your team. Your first pick was Chubb for this team. So who you got now?
I'm going to take a little bit of a leap here from where I'm going to take Patrick Mahomes.
Okay.
See?
Yeah, I'm going to take Patty.
So Mahomes is
Going
gone.
no wide receiver strategy in the first 2 rounds.
I got-
Okay.
So what are we on? 10
Oh, that's
You,
true.
Henry.
I'm a little confused on how this is going. but
Okay,
it's all right.
so I have Henry on
You have
this.
Henry on this team.
Okay. Let's go with Stephon Diggs.
Diggs was taken already.
No? Yeah. See, it shows how much I was paying attention.
Great job there, guy.
I am doing a great job of paying attention here. I really am. Let's see. Hamana. A.J. Brown.
Good pick.
That's
I
a
like
good
that.
pick.
I like that.
Yeah.
A.J. Brown.
I'm trying to think of the wide receivers that are available.
Yeah, 140 plus targets.
I don't have a
last year.
cheat sheet like you do.
I'm going Amon-Ra. I can't believe he's still there.
Amon-Ra.
St. Brown. So you are 2 receivers in, Diggs and St. Brown. The team is really good. All right, this is my team with Barkley as my first pick at number 7. So I've got Barkley, and I think I'm going to go with Metcalf here as my
I want a
receiver.
cheat sheet. What the hell?
Metcalf. All right, John, you're up. This is your pick with
See,
Cup.
John's trying to get a cheat sheet
Cup.
too.
Let me go with Amari Cooper.
Cooper.
Duper, pooper,
He's going to have a good year. A little early, but he's going to have a good year.
Cooper's a good pick. Solid
I
receiver.
think Deshaun comes back a little bit too from what we saw last year. I think he's hungry to
Yeah.
get back into the game and get his name out there again.
It
So
all
I think he has a
depends.
big season.
This is also good for people that haven't been in drafts. Because you see one draft, things are always going to be different in every draft you go. You have a guide, but there's always going to be 5 or 6 players that go a lot earlier than you expect or a lot late. So that's why you have to have a plan and draft the position, not the player. Come
Exactly.
in with the tiers and know in the first 5 rounds, I want 4 running backs or 4 wide receivers and 1 running back, or 3 and 2 or 2 and 3, and don't focus solely on I want this player or that player.
Gonzo Eckler was your first pick with this team. Who are you taking second? This is coming back, second round, pick 7.
Second round, pick 7, Garrett Wilson, New York Jets. I finally got a cheat sheet.
Wow.
Trying to make me do this blind. I mean, fine, and I had to take a jet too.
Now, Andrew, with the I guess that one's not called a reach based on last year's production, but he got Kelsey with the 5th pick overall. Who are you putting behind Kelsey?
I'm going to take another reach, and not a reach, but another guy I'm not high on. But in this position, I'll take the risk is Devontae Adams.
Okay,
I
taking
don't like
Adams.
the offense. I don't like the quarterback, but the value here is he can still be a 120 target guy, and he can
Taking
still
risks.
score 10 touchdowns. So
I agree with that. The talent is definitely there. Wow.
Wow. Just wow.
So this is the team. It's my turn. I had Chase in the first. I'm looking at best player available here. I know running backs have been going pretty quickly, but I got a couple of guys that I'm going to save, not so much for the 3rd and 4th that we'll see here, but guys that I'll talk about maybe before the show ends that I really like in later rounds. So I think I'm going to stay on course here, and I think I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to have to take Jonathan Taylor at this spot. Just because, again, we know where he does land. He will be productive.
You bastard.
So I'm just going to go ahead and put him there. I think there's value like we talked about. Again, I don't like the player. I don't like the situation that's evolving with him right now.
You're up in
But
Tyreek Hill with
he is going to land. So John's up with Tyreek Hill.
You know what? I like this running back. I want to do ETN Jr.
Okay, ETN off the board.
Sure you don't want Travis Etienne Sr.?
Nah,
I'm
definitely
sure-
not happening.
He's
He's got a little bit of the gout, but he's all right. He can get all. He's fast. Speed runs in the family. But
Gonzo McCaffrey with the first pick in this team.
I'm not stalling or anything like that. McCaffrey, huh?
Who you got?
So that's not the that's the only team with the McCaffrey. My cheat sheet says that I should really pick a wide receiver and should make it a really good one. So I'm going to make it one of my favorites, Jalen Waddle.
Oh, another Dolphin. Wow, 2 Dolphins in the first 2 rounds.
Hey, they both were very productive last year.
I got no problem
That's
with that.
quarterback play.
I think, they were both in the
backups.
top 12 last year in fantasy points.
Nobody
really
can
good
scoff at picking Jalen Waddle in the second round.
All
I
right.
promise you, they would have been in the top 5, both
Yeah.
of them, if he would have stayed healthy the whole season.
Andrew, Justin Jefferson, who are you pairing him with?
I can't believe he's still Tony Pollard.
Big one.
Yeah, I saw that slide too.
Big one.
I was like,
Yep, and I slipped on that.
but I got a running back. What do you
yeah,
want to do,
I'm
you know?
trying to get this together. I slipped on that.
And then I'm really high on this guy, and his ADP has jumped up, and
Oh,
Devontae
you're on
Smith
the
is a
turn?
better option, but I am going with Calvin Ridley. I have a lot
boy.
of shares of Calvin Ridley this year.
You
in
bastard.
that offense, I got high hopes for him.
Well,
Me too.
according to Calvin, he has $100 on the over himself, so that's good.
And that's another reason why I like him. Man,
So that's
a
good.
gambling man.
Yeah, there you go.
Outside the building, go outside the building and place your bets, players. Pay attention.
Gonzo, McCaffrey, Waddle. What are you doing?
The McCaffrey Waddle combination.
Yeah, what you got there?
Oh, let's see here. Oh, well, I would like to thank you all for leaving Mark Andrews on the board. I'm going to grab Mark Andrews.
Okay. Again, like we talked about, tight ends, premium. So if you got one early, good for you. If you don't have one early, you better find somebody late. You know, maybe it's smart to even draft 2 guys late.
And I'm going to go so far as to say that, tight ends outside of, Andrews and Kelsey, you're still getting down into that second tier, which is still pretty. I mean, we're at 4 or 5 tight ends that are really premium tight ends.
Hutchinson, you got some guys down.
As good as a WR2.
Yeah, but you're going to have to take them where you can get a way better value at a wide receiver and running back. To me, that dead zone, I like Evan Ingram, Greg Dulcich, but those guys are just not in my draft. It's either rounds 1 or 2 or rounds 11 and above.
Right, and we're in round 3 right now, right?
We're coming down round 3.
So, third round, Mark Andrews, I'm happy with it.
John, you got Hill and ETN on this team, wide receiver and running back. Who you
All right,
got?
I'm going to go with another wide receiver who I think is Derek Carr is going to feed a lot. Olave,
Olave.
I think this guy's going to do absolutely
Olave.
big year this year. Big year.
Olave. Well, it's my turn.
All right, you're getting weird.
I got Chase and Taylor on this team so far, and this is a little bit of a reach, but this is a guy that's been going up in drafts. I'm going to take Ramondre Stevenson in this 3rd round pick. here. Ramondre Stevenson. Again, a guy that is a great pass catcher who's going to be used a lot in the offense this year, catching a lot of passes. Could be a 55, 60 catch guy in that offense this year.
Zeke doesn't scare you taking away the touchdowns?
Maybe
Sure,
a,
the touchdowns.
maybe a little bit for the touchdowns, but again, a guy, he can easily be in the top 10 fantasy points. And he didn't have a lot of touchdowns. I think he only had 4 touchdowns last year, Stevenson, was still inside the top.
Harris
yeah,
was their touchdown.
was still inside
Sure
the
you
top
don't want
10.
a
New
kicker?
England?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I think they're going to lean on him heavy this
Yeah.
year.
A kicker's
Yes.
a good spot in the 3rd round, isn't it?
Normally people wait to the 5th for kickers,
Okay.
especially in your league.
I'll take Devontae Smith.
Yeah, good pick there. But
You're sitting there waiting. Devontae Smith, give me.
Yeah.
Gonzo, Eckler, and Mr. Wilson. Who you got?
Eckler and Mr. Wilson.
You got Mr. Wilson. Yeah. Who you got?
Wait. Eckler and who?
Mr. Wilson. You got the Wilson, wide receiver from the Jets. You remember that old?
Garrett.
Yeah, the old guy that's throwing to him?
Yes.
Mr. Ayahuasca?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so no, I'm definitely not going with that guy. Give me T. Higgins.
Higgins, the other guy in Cincinnati.
Yeah,
Okay.
because this cheat sheet is pretty good.
Higgins is going to have a great
But-
year because he wants to get paid, so he's going to show out.
Yeah, exactly.
I think he's
Contract
gonna
year,
have-
is it a contract year?
Yeah.
And he knows that he's probably not going to be in Cincinnati next year because there's too many mouths to feed.
Nope.
With Higgins, Chase, Burrow, Mixon, a couple guys on defense, Jesse Bates, and
And 73-year-old Tyler Boyd, is he still there too?
Yeah.
So they got a few. All right, John, you got Cooper and Cooper on this team. 2 Coopers, Cooper Kupp and Amari Cooper.
Come on, pick another Cooper. I dare you.
Yeah, who is there any left? I don't know. There's a Hooper, isn't there?
yeah. And I don't think he's still in the league.
No, I don't think so either.
He's gone from. I don't even think he's in the league.
Oh, Cooper to Hooper. He's not
I'm
even
going to
here.
go ahead and go with Herbert.
That's not a Cooper.
Justin Herbert. I like it.
Hubert?
You are not a Justin Herbert
I
guy.
am.
You're not Chargers at all. You don't.
It's not that I'm
Is
not
it
a
the team or is
Justin.
it
No,
Herbert?
it's not that I'm not a Justin Herbert guy. I'm not a guy that has done nothing in this league, and everybody says he's the next coming. What has he done in the league?
But as far as fantasy, he does bring you a lot of fantasy points.
Last year he was not. He had I think he was 29th in yards per attempt. Everybody says he has this strong arm. Well, the coaching staff doesn't think so because they don't let him do it. His interceptions were up. His touchdowns were way down. And
didn't Jared
he
Goff
has
outpoint-
a terrible coach
Didn't Jared
on
Goff
top of
outpoint
that.
him?
They got a really good
Jared
offensive
Goff was
coordinator
better,
right now.
right?
Different play caller.
I think they're gonna
You know what you're getting for your birthday this year and for Christmas? Even though I don't know if you celebrate Christmas, but I'll
Chargers.
throw it out there anyway. You're getting
Herbert.
2 signed jerseys. I'm giving you a Herbert jersey and a Najee Harris jersey.
All right. So
Yeah,
what's the
they're
next
both for
pick?
you.
What's the next pick?
2 extra smalls.
Who's the next pick and who's on deck? Come on, get organized.
So take
Get
that,
organized.
Najee.
Who's the next
Okay,
pick?
sorry.
Who's
I'm up Barkley and Metcalf on this team. So I got DJ and I got Barkley. I guess I'm going to have to go with a pretty good running back.
Must you?
I'm going to have to go with Najee in the 3rd round. Are you okay with the value in the 3rd round for Najee? No.
He wouldn't take him.
I agree with Andrew.
Okay, that's fine.
I think he's lower than
Especially because John Jacobs is still there.
Yeah, he
and
is.
I'm taking him with Diggs and St. Brown. So now I've got 2 number 1s and a bell cow running back.
All right, you do have
Well,
a bell
who's
cow.
next?
Yeah, Gonzo. This is your
Me?
Henry Brown team.
Me?
Not in that order. Not Henry Brown. You
My
have
Henry Brown team?
and you have Brown. Yes.
Jalen Hurts.
Wow, that hurts.
Yes, it does.
Wow, great pick.
I've been waiting in the weeds with that one.
Could there be a little regression for the Eagles?
Run on
offense this
quarterbacks
year, you
right
think?
now.
What
Run
do you
on
think?
quarterbacks.
They lost the offensive coordinator, right? He's the coach in Indy
Correct,
now, so
correct.
you never know what's going to happen there. How much did Sirianni play a role in that offense or not? So I don't know, but they've got a lot of
we gonna
studs, so
find
it's
out.
tough.
They were so good on both sides of
Yeah.
the ball last year. I think a lot of their games were positive game script for them. I don't think they were chasing many leads in that game. I
But
think
the
they had-
NFC is even worse than it was last
I
year.
agree
Oh,
with
it's
that.
horrible. Yeah,
That
there's very
helps
little.
too. It's not the AFC where there's
little talent.
12 teams that are good. The NFC
Yeah.
has 3 good teams.
Yeah. John, round 3 coming back almost on the turn. You have Chubb and do you have Chubb? I'm not sure. You have Chubb and you have Mahomes. Wow.
Don't look. Whatever you do.
Mahomes. Let's
What are you
see.
looking down at? Oh, Andrew, you're looking down at your phone. Okay, I was going to say, don't look.
Let me go ahead and take
that kind of
either
show.
Hopkins or Adams.
How
Let
many?
me go-
You know, you can't do that at a regular draft.
already.
Oh, you did? All right, then I'm gonna make it easy. Let me go ahead and take Hopkins on this one.
He's hopping.
Hopkins.
One of the
Who's next?
most talented
Me.
wide receivers.
You.
Robinson Lamb, guys. I'm going to take a shot here with Jamar Gibbs. I think volume alone, I think a high upside. Again, everybody's talking it up. We'll see. I'm taking Jamar Gibbs to go with.
Jameer.
So basically, on this
Jameer.
team, I've got Bijan and I got Jameer. I got 2 rookies I got coming this year, and I got CeeDee Lamb, who Andrew loves this year. So, all right, coming on the turn. I got 2 with this guy. I'm sorry, I'm not paying attention. I am definitely going to go with another running back on this team. Running back strong, Miles Sanders. I like the landing spot. I like his efficiency numbers. I think he was 4th in catch rate last year. He's inside the top 10 in red zone
What do
touches.
you want, a cookie?
I'm taking Sanders this year on a new team, on an upstart team. I think Carolina's going to make a little bit of noise.
Only about
All
40,
right.
40 picks ahead of
Who's
his ADP.
next?
Go ahead. We'll go for it.
Who's next?
This is John coming up with Chubb, Mahomes, and Hopkins.
Chubbs, Mahomes, Hopkins. Let's go. Tyler Lockett.
We talked about him. We talked about him.
Something safe.
I like
Get
him.
off the board.
All right. Gonzo, Henry,
Me.
Brown, Hurts. Does it hurt, Gonzo?
Me. Henry Brown Hurts. I have a question, and it's a guy I've been watching slide, and I'm wondering if he's still sliding out there. Josh Jacobs?
He was just taken.
No, I just took
Where,
him.
oh,
Yeah.
you did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was busy producing the show. Mind you.
Your question was answered.
I'm triple tasking here. Okay,
There's a
so-
dead kayaker in the lake.
I was just.
They got the ambulance. It's
As
coming out
long as
now.
and there's no evidence that I am there.
No.
Okay,
We
so
didn't
this
see it
team
either.
is what? Is who now?
This is
Hurts,
you.
Brown, and-
yeah, Hurts, Brown, and Henry.
Hurts, Brown, and Henry.
Derek, I am 100 years old,
I'm
Henry.
definitely going to require the services of another back of the running type. Aaron Jones?
I like it.
Yes.
I like it.
Yes. Yes, the man who is going to facilitate love.
I will go with the stack, and I'll take Josh Allen.
Okay.
And I'll have the Bills stack.
I like it.
Good for you.
Again, another team with severe running back depth here because I get some receivers I'm going to grab late. This is the team I've got Barkley, Metcalf, and Harris. And I'm sort of leaning towards maybe I'm surprised he's fallen so far. Joe Mixon. So I'm going to put Mixon in that spot.
Wow.
Therefore, I've got basically he'll have to. One of these running backs is going to be the flex on this team because I've got two strong running backs, and I've got Mixon probably as the flex. So John, you're up. This is your team with multiple Coopers and a Justin. So you're up.
Cooper.
I'm going to go ahead. His injury history, but I'm going to go ahead and take Deebo Samuel this year.
Debo. Wow.
You bastard.
Yep.
Debo. How confident are we with the quarterback play in that team?
Well, I mean,
He was pretty
darn
good last
year.
year.
You
Yeah.
know, I mean, I'm in another
Who's on deck? Is this
offseason.
me?
This is you. This is with Eckler, Wilson, and Higgins.
Eckler, Wilson, Higgins.
That's Garrett Wilson, by the way.
And Joe Burrow is off the board.
He is not off the
No,
board.
he
He is now.
He is off
Taking
the board.
the stack, the Higgins Burrow
The
stack.
stock.
Okay, Andrew, Kelsey, Adams, Smith. Where's your running back on this team?
It's not coming here either.
Okay.
Jim Kirk is going there.
I like it.
I
Zero.
deploy a lot of the zero RB strategy, and
Captain Kirk.
This won't show here, but in a lot of my drafts so far, I've been loading up, and then in rounds 6, 7, 8, and 9, I'm taking 3 running backs. Sometimes I'm taking 4 because all I need is 2 to hit.
Let's talk about some of those. We're almost done here in the draft, but we've got 5 or 6 running backs I want to throw out there that'll fit that strategy because I'm on the similar wavelength as him with this because there's a lot of wide receiver talent. And outside of the first, I don't know, again, it's tough to get that running back one consistently week to week. So I feel better about putting your team in a position where you've got 4 high upside guys where you just need 1 or 2 of those guys to hit consistently. So I do like that strategy. Okay, my turn. Chase, Taylor, Stevenson. Well, you guys are taking quarterbacks, so I'm just going to go ahead and keep going quarterbacks. I got a guy's going to be top 3 this year. I'm taking Lawrence this year in the 4 spot.
Yeah, I'm big on Lawrence,
So-
especially with his weapons.
Trevor.
I'm taking Trevor. Okay.
Trevor.
John, Tyreek, Etienne Jr., and Olave. Who are you going with?
Running out of players right now. You know what? I'll take a tight end. Let's go Hutchinson.
Hutch.
Hawkinson.
Hawkinson,
Hawkinson,
which is closely related to Hutchinson. They're actually
Not on the same team anymore.
my
but-
dentist is Dr. Hutchinson. It's kind of interesting. I think I'll wait take him late in the later rounds.
I know what you're going to ask me.
Gonzo, you
Lamar
have
Jackson.
McCaffrey,
Lamar Jackson.
you have Waddle,
Lamar Jackson.
you have Andrews,
Lamar Jackson.
and you now have Lamar Jackson.
Yes.
That's a great pick. by the
4th
way.
round.
What's that offense going to be like this year? Are they going to be the high flying, everybody's talking about hype train that with the new OC?
Lamar Jackson. All right.
Run a
Now
bunch of
I
plays.
got to talk. Now I got to talk.
Well, we got one
Lamar
more pick.
Jackson.
We got one more pick first, and then we'll get back to you. Andrew, JJ, Pollard, Ridley.
So what I would do here is take DJ Moore, and the reason I would take DJ Moore is because then on the turn I would take Justin Fields for the stack. I know we're not going that route.
Right,
but
I
wanna
understand.
Explain why.
Right.
Sometimes what I would do is I have Hopkins and maybe McLaurin ranked a little bit higher, but if I have a chance at a stack in certain leagues, seeing how teams build out, that might be my tiebreaker. So I would go with Moore and Fields in that instance instead of somebody who maybe I had ranked a little higher, but still in the same tier as we talked about.
Right.
So I'm not really reaching that much because they're still my tier 2 or 3 guys, and now I have the upside of the stack.
How
Which-
often does that actually work out well when you do that stack?
So the stack is important if you want to win in daily fantasy, which I'm sure throughout the season Matt will explain it. It's not as big in fantasy, in redraft fantasy, but again, it's my tiebreaker if I'm close on 2 guys because I have the ability now where that 1 week if he catches 3 touchdowns, that's 36 points instead of 18 points or whatever the case may be.
So just to
Yeah,
kind of
GR.
explain this, so basically what you're saying is in your fantasy, let's say FanDuel, things like that, that is where it really benefits you, but
need
not
to-
your year-long
to win,
league.
To win a guaranteed GPP or cash game, you need to have the stack because that you need that guy that's going to go off and
It's
have
that boomer bust mentality. Yeah.
It very much
Yeah.
is. Yeah, I was just thinking
If it booms,
it's either going to
it's,
really work or
you know,
really not.
yeah, I mean,
okay.
I
If
mean,
you're looking to double up and just make a little bit of money, then maybe not. You go with a safer play. But if you're looking to win the $20,000, the $10,000 prizes, you need to have that stack because you need to be on that team that the quarterback throws for 4 touchdowns and one guy catches 3, and now you got 80 points between two positions.
But it probably doesn't work really that well if you're doing a year-long draft to have those guys every single week, unless it's like a Kelsey Mahomes.
Exactly.
It's almost guaranteed.
Again,
it's not really
but
smart to do that.
If you're in elite situations like a Mahomes and Kelsey, yes, but it's still a boomer bust situation.
Look at last year, people took Hurts later on, and if you were debating on a quarterback, but you had A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith, and you went Hurts over another quarterback that was in that realm, look how it worked out for you, because the Eagles scored 30-something points every week.
True.
Hurts wasn't considered a stud quarterback last
yep.
year. This year he is, but last year you could have gotten late, and maybe you took him over Justin Herbert because they were going in the same range last year. Trevor Lawrence type deal. You took him because of who you had. It ended up making a huge difference.
Yeah, I mean it's good points. I mean it's
Yeah.
stacks are hard to come by, and I don't like to use it as a primary, but like you said, as a tiebreaker.
Correct.
It's something that can be beneficial in those sorts of
Yeah, I don't
environments.
go into a draft looking for a stack, but I go.
I
in now,
love stacks.
I'm like,
Because
okay.
I seen you
In
do
all
it on this twice.
formats.
I wanted to make sure the audience knew there are certain times to do that and not in certain leagues.
Yeah, no, but I love stacks in all formats. I don't care what it is. Stack them up. Stack.
Do you have a running back? Because I know we alluded to the fact that we're going to be on the zero RB train, perhaps in some situations. Who are the guys primarily?
Savages.
Give me a guy. Give me one guy that you can safely take in that 7 to 10 round range that you feel comfortable taking in any of those spots.
Madison, maybe?
Pacheco.
Pacheco.
He might not catch the ball, but he's gonna have 20 carries. He's gonna have 20 touches a game. He's gonna get you a touchdown. I know they throw the ball to McKinnon, but Pacheco, Rashard White for Tampa. The team's not that great, but somebody has to run the ball, and it's not going to be Keyshawn Vaughn. So he's going to get, and he catches the ball too. So he's going to be
Playoff
3 down.
Lenny ain't coming back.
And then my third one is, and I'm higher on him than a lot of people. I was last year too, and it didn't work out at the beginning of the season, but he came on strong. But that's another team that might not win any games, but he's going to have probably 300 carries as James Conner if he stays healthy.
High volume. Yeah.
He's high volume. He's gonna be the guy to getting the touchdowns if they're in short, and
He's gonna be their
they have
best
nobody
chance to win
else.
the game.
So
I also saw stories that Kyler Murray may not play this year at all. He may sit out the entire year.
Caleb Williams, they want the Caleb Williams trade.
Yeah.
That's why they just got Josh Dobbs. He's going to probably start. They just traded for him. He's probably going to start week 1 because McCoy
Why not
is,
Colt McCoy?
He's hurt still.
Oh, still?
And he's 36, and he's hurt.
I was going to say he's been around
I was
forever.
gonna say, well, let me tell you, Colt McCoy hasn't been a joke when he had a chance to play. But once again, it's a situation where his opportunities are coming too late.
You mentioned a guy on Tampa's team. People tend to stay away from the really bad teams, and I like that too. But later in the drafts, I like Chase Edmonds on that team just because of the lack of volume and the fact that he's going to catch the ball. He's an elite route runner as a running back. He's always been that role in his career.
But he just they tried it in Miami
Yep.
last year and it didn't work. They bounced the Buffalo. It just hasn't worked in the last 2 years. That's the reason I'm afraid of him.
I think he needs the right system to be perfect for him to really excel.
Again, this is a late round flyer. Guys
Samaje Perine is
undrafted.
another
Oh,
guy.
I like him a lot too. Yeah, big
Williams
time.
coming off the ACL. It's going to be probably 60-40 splits. But Perine was a flex option even with Mixon there. He was a valuable flex option because he's going to be on the field on third downs.
When Mixon was hurt last year, Perine was in 3 weeks. He started.
And
He
Cook is
averaged.
gone now too. Couldn't you get the back?
Perine averaged 20.2 fantasy points a week during those 3 weeks that he went down.
You just got to remember, you're drafting 4 of these guys in a row in round 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Probably if you build up, you only need 1 or 2 to hit.
Yeah,
You don't need them all. So you're just hoping if you draft 5 that you're at 40%, which is the average rate for first through 4.
Yep.
So if you stay on par, you've got yourself a team, and now you've got a leg up with all your receivers when other people are filling out rosters. You're getting the best players.
And Matt, if you show everybody the draft sheet that we just made together here, people can count on the fact that
Can we post this?
half of these guys, you can post it, sure. You like to write things, go ahead and post it on the GONZO Radio group page.
I'll put it on the site.
Half those guys aren't going to work out for you. Whether they get injured, whether they have a bad season, a slew of bad games.
That's
and they end up on
why
your bench at the wrong time.
The later rounds is where you balance out your team.
Yeah.
You have to be consistent later.
Listen, you can get all the sexy you want in the first 4 or 5 rounds. Okay, those are all the sexy big names. But once you get to round 6, okay, and you've already got your quarterback, you've got one of your elite 4 quarterbacks. Okay, then you need to start going for support players. Got players that are going to be filling roles, players that are going to be consistent every week. Even if it's just 12 to 15 points a week, you need a guy that's going to average every week is going to be like, he's my 15. Hey, and there's my 15. There's my 15. You want that every week because those are going to be the guys that are going to get you over the hump. They really are.
Agreed.
They're going to win close games for you. They're going to make sure that you're in every game. And then maybe, like I said, one of your two, top pick superstar, whatever, you have a big game, 50-pointer, like Hill. Hill will go for 50 points for 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. Well, then you're really going to start blowing people out. But those grinders, those 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th round players, like a Higbee in the 10th round, that's going to be a guy. It's like all of a sudden every week you look at him, you look at his line score up and down every week. It's going to be like 17, 18, 22, 15 and a half. It's like his low game his floor is like 15 points.
We didn't get to talk much about the gambling part. Again, I do want to illustrate the fact that he crushed it yesterday. All right, 12-2.
Yeah. Give us a brief synopsis of that, if you would, please.
But what I want you to do,
for your credibility,
what we're going to do as a group, and certainly through his direction, is be posting his plays on the site so that you guys can access them, because we go listen, you can bet every day. We don't just bet Sunday mornings. So depending on what you're into, college now has started. He crushed it yesterday.
Gonzo Radio, the Gonzo Radio Sports Desk group page on Facebook.
Yes, we'll be putting all kinds of notes and all kinds of things in there, so just make sure you keep checking in. So go.
DFS lineup.
Tell us about yesterday. Tell us what you got.
Yesterday, a lot of games early on, there's not very many blowouts, so any double-digit favorites usually don't cover in the first week. And then there's the rule change that was not talked about enough, which is why a lot of the unders were hitting. Now, obviously, USC offense is great, defense is bad, but the rule change in college where the ball doesn't stop now after a first down like
the
it
clock.
used to. The clock does not stop when it goes to first down. So, that's 7 to 8 plays per team less a game. So if scoring is down 5 to 10%, we saw in baseball early in this year too, the books adjust, they react, but do they react good? Do they react good enough? Because you can only put numbers in, but until you see it in action, you don't know what it is. So there are a lot of unders that hit yesterday that I went with. I went home dogs. Jacksonville State covered. Vanderbilt did not cover. That was one of my 2 losses. And then New Mexico State did not cover. Those were my 2 losses. That's why a lot of most underdogs covered yesterday. Jackson State, I took. They were minus 8.5. Took them because they wanted to show that Dion's gone, but they still meant something. So they had a reason to play. They won 34-0.
Find the narratives in certain spots. Yeah, there's narratives out there.
Louisiana Tech against FIU, the over 65.5. But you got FIU, who is not good, and you got Louisiana Tech, who has a quarterback that just transferred 3 months ago, doesn't know the system. I think the score was 19-17. And it was a 64 point or under.
Total.
USC over was 66. It was a big number, but if you looked at all their games last year with Caleb Williams, they score 40 no matter what, and they give up 20. So right there, it went over in the third quarter.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something.
They were literally a team last year that was like, listen, we're going to score 40 points.
A team like USC that's trying to get on the map, even though they're on the map, but now with the new coach.
And Pac-12 is a joke.
And
they're leaving,
yes,
so they have to
blow everybody out to show prominence.
Because,
yeah, that's my point.
Same with Notre Dame.
Yeah, is they're going to just keep on the pedal all through the game, regardless of the score, because they've got to have 60, 70-point wins to make it look like they're a better team than what they really are. Yeah, that's important in college football. Rankings is everything. So you got to present well. Even though you may not be that true self, it doesn't matter. So
Navy game under Navy's, especially with the way they run the ball, and Notre Dame, they took the game barely went under. That's because Notre Dame, the whole last 20 minutes of the game, ran the ball, took out Hartman after his 4 touchdowns. So you just got to look and pick your spots. And then when you're watching the game, I hit a lot of second half bets, because if you're watching Louisiana Tech -6 in the second half, they were the better team. The quarterback fumbled. He threw a bad pick. The field goal kicker missed 2 kicks, and they were only down 3 at halftime. So you take that,
yeah,
but take that into account.
Yeah, you're right.
When you're looking at it and you're like, oh, they're losing. Why are they -7 in the second half? Well, they were the better team. It was just here and there. Now it doesn't always work out that way, but I look for the best possible positions. Win or lose, I can't control the kids that play, but I can put myself in the best number spot possible.
You're trying to eliminate variables.
Read the momentum too.
Correct.
So you're going to basically be posting all week long on the site, probably maybe once a day, essentially, because I know you're active every day.
Yeah.
And just a quick post. So guys, check in on there, and if you guys want to be successful, maybe next week or when we get back on in 2 weeks, we'll start talking about maybe more money management, how to bet, staying consistent, stay within your limits.
Right.
Unit
Yeah.
percentage.
So that'll be a
that's
focus.
the Gonzo Radio Radio Sports Desk
Yeah.
group and page. There's also a page you can like. We're going to put content on both portals, so that way you can.
Yeah,
you
plenty
know,
of DFS
check it
stuff
out.
as well,
And
daily
we're gonna cut
stuff.
some videos on there too.
My
There's
fantasy
gonna be a lot of
draft.
text, stuff like that. And what you what?
My fantasy draft is tomorrow, so we'll take a picture of the board and put it on there so you can see. My league's been going on for 15 years, so it's a lot of players that know what they're doing.
Right on.
So you can see our draft and what it looks like to help you guys know what's coming on in your drafts.
Right. And then next week we have Labor Day weekend. We have we have the Diamond Dolls League draft. We have the 32nd annual Screwy Louie Football League draft. You have like 7 drafts next weekend.
I'm in Monday. The Monday after is Danny Heinbender's league.
Yeah.
And then your
Danny's
league is
Degenerate
tomorrow.
Gamers.
I'm in 4, I think, this year again.
4?
That's
oh,
it.
only 4?
4 season longs, and then I'll be in a bunch of best balls and some
14
other
or
stuff.
4?
4, just
40.
4. I'm not like this
I
guy
can't
over
do
here.
it anymore.
14.
I can't.
Yeah, 4 is a good number.
I can't do it anymore. I just can't.
Yeah, I mean see, my problem is with so many leagues is that you end up going against guys that you need in that last week.
exactly.
You're rooting for your guy to get it, and meanwhile you're
hate it.
playing him, and it's just
I
like
hate it.
again,
It's the
the worst
exact
kind of
reason why I
hedging your
stated
bet.
2.
Yeah.
It's a numbers game
That's
again.
it.
I know.
It's a numbers game. If you're in more leagues and you know what you're doing, if
You're
you
gonna win.
If you win 10 and lose 4, that's
Yeah,
fine.
that's true.
I trust me. Last year I come in last. I had leagues where I won 1 game or 0 games, but I won 5 championships. So take the good with the bad. You can't always be right, but
Sure.
you're putting yourself in the best position to win the most money.
True.
Yes.
Aliens.
Easy.
Just
Let me
saying.
Get to it. Okay. Well,
Get
That's
to the
my
last
cue. That's
segment.
my cue to go to the
That's
casino.
good. Hang on. Stay right where you are. Nobody moves. All right. Well, let's going to take a quick break once again, and we'll be back with our final segment, which has the A word.
Green guys.
Which, a lot of people are a little bugged by it, but you know what? It's what we like to do because we're nuts here at the GONZO Radio Sports Desk.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Now, let's analyze what's been working for us. Not a goddamn thing's been working for us. Like this goddamn suit doesn't work for me. And this stinking tie, and this goddamn shirt, it doesn't work for me. You know how to play winning hard-nosed football? You play football like a Gennaro played football. A guy who gave his life for this football team. He was a 140-pound halfback, and he played like a goddamn wild man. No, like a goddamn rampaging beast. And that's the way you gotta do it. You go out there, you tear their fucking heads off, and you shit down their necks. Let us pray.
GONZO Radio.
Let us pray. All right. We're back at our final segment, our go home segment, and I can't help but notice that there's something missing.
We had an abduction.
They've been
Two guys
spirited away. They're
I
off.
saw smoke, and then poof, they were gone. I don't know. I just don't know what happened.
It was like one of those Star Trek transporter things.
I don't know. There was a blinding light, and then a flash, and then something else, and a weird smell, and then all of a sudden, 2 guys gone.
And that's the smell of being probed, I think.
Yeah,
it is.
yeah. So anyway,
Wow.
hey guys, by the way, remember we talked last week about Blue Book, Project
Yeah.
Blue Book, and how that went?
Yeah, well, didn't something happen in Washington D.C. like
Well, here's what
a million years ago?
started the whole thing. 1952, guys, no joke. Check this out. They called it the D.C. incident. Okay,
Right.
basically at 11:40 p.m., July 19th, 1952.
1952.
Air traffic controller at the
I was
Washington
4.
National Airport says, "Hey guys, what are these things on the radar?" 7 objects appear, poof, out of nowhere.
Bogies.
Okay, 15 miles southwest of the city in D.C. Now, again, of course, you're looking. They're on the phone. No known aircrafts in the area. What do we do? All of a sudden, within a few minutes, you got one over the White House, one over the Capitol building. They're all over D.C. People are freaking out.
So this is 1952. So this
1952. This is Truman.
This is Truman.
Truman. So 1952, they're freaking out. They're like, "What do we do? There's unidentified aircrafts in the skies over our
Shoot at it.
most important thing." So Andrews Air Force Base is about 10 miles away. Planes go up in the air. They're looking. They see nothing. They're in the air for 3 hours approximately, doing whatever their loops and stuff are to try and find these things. They find nothing, no signatures. Okay, they run out of gas. They bring them back to base. Within an hour, guess who shows up again? Boop, they're all back. Okay. Again, they scramble fighter jets, whatever, they try and find him. They don't know what it is. They have no idea. This happened for a period of 2 days where they had all these crazy sightings. So basically, Truman steps up. He says, here's what we're going to do. He says, keep the public safe, keep them from freaking out. We're really not going to tell them what this is because we're not even sure ourselves. So we're going to put together 2 commissions. One was the OSI, which was the something of the scientific something, and then there was an ORI or OCI, which is they want to gather scientific intelligence. So they were just throwing stuff at the wall, trying to figure out what it was.
Well, hang on. What do you guys think? I didn't think so. Okay, so go ahead.
Yeah, so anyway, so they don't know what the hell this is. So people are freaking out. You get guys on the airwaves and the radios and everything else, and they're like, what is this all about? So again, this was the initial sort of precursor to Blue Book. And Blue Book, as we talked about, was a original Air Force sanctioned sort of group of people, smart people that were trying to figure these things out. Once they probably found out that they had something, big guys, CIA stepped in and said, whoa, Men in Black, where are you doing this? We got this. Give it to us. All right, we're going to run the show from now on because we know you guys can't handle the truth. You can't handle the truth. So that's when all these panels, the Robertson panel came in, and there were basically a bunch of scientists, again, under the directive of the CIA and Truman, to try and debunk everything that was being put forth, to try and put explanations where there may not have been any. And again, all in an effort, I feel, and many do feel, to cover up whatever it is they did find. Now, again, guys, when we talk about this stuff, I'm not hoping that there's aliens in the sky. I'm not hoping that none of this stuff. I don't have a dog in the fight. What I do have is a quest and a search for just the truth. What is it? Aren't you scared when maybe somebody else is a little bigger and stronger and faster than you? That's a national security issue.
I want to meet Vulcans, man. I want to meet Vulcans. I want to meet like something there. I want to meet Vulcans. That's what I want to do.
When you watch, and all this stuff is more mainstream now. So when you watch any of the documentaries that are out there, or read any of the stories, or pay attention to the hearings that just took place, these guys are all credible people. You're looking at pilots, you're looking at NASA scientists, you're looking at, prominent members of society that also don't have a dog in the fight, that are looking in the skies because they're flying their planes and are going, hey, what the hell was that?
Right. Well, listen, the funniest thing is that we're just going by American records. Okay, we're still talking about France.
Oh, there's so
about China,
many. Listen,
talking about Russia.
You know what I'll do?
Okay, I mean
that's a great prelude. Next week, I'm going to talk about what the Chilean government in 2 weeks. What the Chilean government did. This is about maybe 10 or 12 years ago. They set up a whole commission, so I'll get into that. But based on what we're doing here, guys, UFO sightings, again, unidentified aerial phenomena, as they call them now. They go back into the beginning of times. Okay, there's hieroglyphic writings.
What do these guys call them?
It's in 100 different cultures. No. We've been looking up at the skies here for a long time, seeing things. Again, looking for the truth. What is the truth? Do we know? Somebody does, and they're just not telling you. So, again, that's what all this positive progression towards mainstream acceptance is. Time will tell. I mean, eventually the truth has to come out. You can't keep these sorts of things under wrap when you have so many people involved. And I think that's why you're getting now the whistleblowers, people coming out, telling their sides, and then, wanting answers.
Listen, we've suffered with the hubris of humanity to think that we are so unique and so special and so precious that we are the only intelligent life in the universe or in the galaxy.
And that's a question mark. When you put intelligence and our names next to it, maybe not all the way. So, maybe we're like the half intelligence. Maybe we should put half in front of it.
Let's not get anthropological about it, because then we can go into religion versus spirituality versus science versus physical science, or all of that. But still, nonetheless,
something's going on.
Yeah. And it's only going to be getting better. And you know what? We're literally doing this out of spite, because we got a little feedback of it. Oh, everything was great until you did the aliens. And you know what? For those of you 6 or 7 people who hung around for the last alien spot, thanks for hanging out. For the rest of you, and for the rest of you, and for them, They're out in the living room right now. It's crazy. Well, it's time for us to say our goodbyes. We're going to be back in 2 weeks. We're taking next week off because we have lives and because we're all going to be doing our fantasy football drafts next week, and it's Labor Day, and we're going to go barbecue, and we're going to kibitz about our draft picks, and then we'll talk about them the week after, the Sunday after next.
Yeah, that'd be actually the second week of the football season.
Well, first week of.
Oh yeah, 2 weeks. You're right. I'm sorry. Yeah, 2 weeks after.
First full Sunday slate.
Once we get back after
Right.
the next week, yeah.
Right. Dolphins play at 4:00.
We'll have a lot of
Chargers.
stuff on the site. We'll be
Yeah.
posting a lot of DFS stuff, a
Yeah.
lot of gambling stuff through Andrew, and so just
Yeah.
keep in tune with the site for information and to help you with your drafts.
You're not going to have a funky blue tank top on backwards.
Make some money. So you gave me this shirt.
You put it on backwards.
I don't know what the front and the back is with this thing, but I like it. I'm wearing it.
It's very festive. That's
Thank
why
you.
I gave it to you guys.
Thank you.
All right. Well, on behalf of myself and Namaz. Oh, and by the way, look for us on Spreaker, Spreaker, or on SoundCloud, the audio version for those of you hanging out and wondering, well, listen to the whole thing over again tomorrow on the audio version. I'm going to be posting those. Those will be up by the end of the day. So on behalf of myself and Andrew and Johnny Audubon, and we still got to come up with a moniker for Andrew.
We'll have them by 2
We
weeks.
will.
Yeah.
We will.
2
And,
weeks.
and of course, this guy in blue. Say goodbye to the nice people.
See you later, folks.
Yeah. Thanks a lot for watching. And we'll be back in 2 weeks with more of the Gonzo Radio Sports Desk here on the Gonzo Radio Network, Gonzo Media Productions, LLC, and other stuff. Bye.